Hi boys and girls, welcome back to week 6, our final class today. So this class is for arts and crafts and we're going to split this lesson into 2 parts because my classes have got quite a wide range from the age of 5 up to 12 for the arts and crafts. So I've chosen this one because this is really easy, anybody could do this one. And I'm going to show you how to do the background. So you're just doing a base like that, so I'll show you how to do all that, what colours to mix, and this is just a couple of cut out flowers here on card, and the rest are all painted, so I'll show you how to do that. And if you fancy having a wee go at something a bit more abstract like this as well, you could do this kind of thing, and I'll show you how to do this as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it. Right, so this is the materials that we're going to need to do this little project. So you should have your 4 brushes like this. So I don't know if you can see these quite close. So this is your big bristle brush, which is good for detail. It's good for filling in your board. And this is your little detailed brush, wee smoothie brush. Probably won't use that an awful lot, but we'll have that. And this one's really good for doing flowers. And this one's good for doing detail. So that's your 4 brushes. And I'll guide you through them as we go. And we've got your masking tape and we've got your glue, but we'll probably just use the masking tape, but I'll show you 2 ways of doing it when we cut the flowers out to add them on. And of course you'll need scissors and water, plenty of tissues and your wee set of paints, and this is the paints that you need for this. So the first one is you can use lemon or your strong yellow, whatever you've got, and some sap green. You've got all this in these sets here. This is your little set of paints here. So you've got all these colours here. You've got a nice jade green as well, we might use a bit of that. And you've got a nice deep red and a light red in your set. You want to use the deep one, which I think is called Brilliant Red. Yep, that's more a pinky red and the other is a bit orangey. So you can put one of each out and we can mix them with white, and I need a bit more white out there actually, so I'll put some more white out there. So that's for your flowers. And also for the background you'll need purple. You've got a nice purple in your set, and the darkest brown and some black, and that's what we're going to cover the board with like that. I'll show you how to do that. Mine's is dry now, so it's just ready to work on, but I'll show you on a fresh board how to get that, and then just blow dry it with the hairdryer. I'll come back later and we're going to do the little vase and the flowers. Some of the flowers cut out. Some flowers will be painted on and some will be cut out, like 3D sitting on top. So that's what we're aiming for. Okay, so I'll show you how to do this bit to get it nice and dark like that. You maybe see on my board that it's a bit darker here and round there, and I've went back in with a tiny wee bit of lilac and white to make it a wee bit lighter there. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. So this is dead easy to do, this bit. So I'm just going to take the water and some purple with a bit of brown in it first. So that's my lighter colour. And if you just put most of the lighter stuff at this side, you'll go thicker and thicker with this paint as you go on. Keep that down there. I'm not adding white now, that gets in later. So I'm going in with purple. This is what this big mix is here. So I'm going in with purple, black and brown. And if you go around in circles like that now, that feeds into the grains of the board and it makes it really dark. So just cover your whole board, what's left of the board, with this now. And if you get it on nice and thick, you can take a wee tissue and just spread the rest. See if you're doing it all with the brush. I'll just show you that in a little minute. We'll try and get a bit more before we spread it because you need lots of paint and it dries very quickly. Right, so if I just take some tissue now and just dip it in a little bit in the water, not soaking, just a little bit. And we'll go to the light stuff first. We'll put the light stuff there. And then we'll get the dark stuff. Take that right to the bottom. And it goes in quite quickly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go a wee bit darker at this side. Because this is the darkest side of your board, the light seems to be coming in to the right. So that should be plenty on there now. And again, just very gently bring it across. So all your board is filled in. Don't lean heavy on it because you'll get big imprints on it, just nice and feathery, like this now. And you can take a little bit more purple, just put it straight on the board. Just a tiny little bit of white, just a bit like that. And then just kind of do this. Same idea, get rid of the black and just kind of go around there like that. And so you've got a wee kind of misty bit which is picking up the colours that you need. And that's all you need to do. Okay, so it should look something like that. Alright, so we're going to let that one dry now. And your hands get into a bit of a mess. You'll pick up a lot of that paint, so just wipe your hands. So you can blow dry that with a blow dryer, or you can start again. Just let it dry and go back later and do it. So since I've got one that I've done earlier, that's ready to work on. And this is some of the flowers, but I'm going to show you how to do them as well. So I've got a little bit of card. You should put some of these cards in your set. So if you pick up a little card like this, and I'm just going to clean this brush first. I like this brush, this is a nice brush for your flowers. So I'm just going to dip in there. And I'm going to do some flowers on there, but I'm going to do a couple of big ones, I'll just show you. Some of the small ones we can actually paint right on there. And then we're going to do a couple of bigger ones on here and cut out so that when we put them on there they'll look like 3D. So I'm just going to show you how to do them. So I need more white on my board, so we're going to lift some white. So I've got some white out and I'm going to take the deep red and do something like that. So the flowers are just really, really loose. So we'll do a couple of little ones. Before we do that, we can use the tape to draw around there actually for a wee pot. So I'll just do that now actually. So that's the little pot in, and we'll put a little base on the pot. So we'll go back to that. We'll go back to that later. So I've still got this paint on my brush for the flowers. So we'll do a couple of little ones for now, like that. Maybe a bigger one. And it's quite good because you get two tones on your brush, the white and the pink, and so it picks up the tones on there like that. You might want to put a wee tiny bit. So sometimes I'm using the point and sometimes I'm using the whole brush. Just like that. Okay, so if I clean that now and I use a bit of your dark stuff for the background just to put wee centres in them. See, it's really quick to do. And I'll just put a wee base on the pot now. So we're going for white and a bit of the deep pink again. Now we might use a little bit of that purple in it. So this is the darker side, so it's going to be a bit darker over there, but we'll bring this light right across first. Now you won't see the top of the pot because everything will be hanging over it like some leaves and things like that. So we'll bring this right in first. Now we want a bit more of the purple, so we can even just put a bit of purple straight on there. And start putting a wee base around there. That's quite nice. A wee bit on the bottom of it. So that was an easy way to get your wee bowl. So what I'm going to do as well is put a wee bit of this dark stuff here with the purple, a bit more purple. Now what I'm going to do, because it's quite light underneath, it'll just keep making my colours lighter and lighter. So I'm just going to sort of dabble the purple like that first. It's okay to give your bowl a wee bit of texture anyway. And a little bit of the dark stuff. It's okay just to show you tiny bits of the pink coming through, that's quite nice. You can do that if you like. You can do that with a sponge or anything. So it's quite wet at the moment, so I'll go back to that and I'll do some of the flowers now. So I'll set that aside. I'm going to do now, this is my card here, so I'm going to do a couple of bigger flowers on the card, big enough that we can cut out. So this is a big one here. So just let your brush do it, let your brush flick up like that. That makes nice petals like that. And then maybe do another one a wee bit lighter this time. You don't want them detailed, it's just kind of abstract. Put that one a wee bit stronger at the front so that looks like a petal sticking up at the front. And the minute we put the wee dark bits in the middle, you'll see the flower much better. So we'll put a wee bit of that in there. And a wee bit of that in there. Okay. Right. So that's two big ones, and we're going to let them dry, and then we're going to cut them out. Just before we do that, we can put some wee highlights on some bits of it like that. And it's quite nice to get this on while they're wet. So we're going to let that dry, and maybe get another wee darker stem petal coming up that side. Right, so we'll let them dry, we'll get the hairdryer onto them, but while they're drying we'll give them a minute to dry naturally themselves, and I'm going to still use the same brush, a bit more tissue. That's in my painting, and this time what I'm going to do is mix up some yellows and greens and put lots of just wee flicks like that. Nothing much. And it doesn't matter if these go over your valve, that's what we want things to do now. And the same thing, if we wash and dry that, get a few more of the little petals just sort of falling to the floor. And there's a couple of little buds up there as well. See, that's nice with the white on it because it just gives you it naturally. Okay, so we want that to dry now, and we'll probably need to give this one a wee help with the hairdryer. So we'll dry that and then we'll cut them out. Okay. Okay, so that's just about dry, but I'm just giving them a few little seconds, and what I'm going to do is finish off our pot while that's drying. So I'm going to take a bit more of the pink, and I would like to get a bit more of the purple on this, because this is drying in now, so this will sit nicer now. So that's more little colour coming up now. And some of that might still be a wee bit wet, so that's ideal because that'll just work into our shadow now. So we want a bit more of these darker colours coming up there. Because this is a bit of the pot that's quite dark and you don't really see that much of it. So just kind of blend it in a bit. It's still pretty wet underneath that, so I'll maybe dry that a wee bit more with the hairdryer. And a little bit there as well. So all we want there is just a tiny little bit of light coming up around that side. It's quite nice if you can do that kind of marly looking like that. And if you clean that brush, you can take a tiny wee bit of light pink, very, very light pink there, and just kind of go in there with a bit more light there, and a little bit more light there. But just before you get to the very top of it, clean your brush and get a nice fresh white coming round there. Now you don't need to come all the way down, but if you go like that with your finger and just let it blend in, even your brush, you can do this with your brush as well. And I'm going to take all the white off my brush now and get a wee bit more of that shadow coming round here. Just a little bit more. And just blend it in just a tiny bit more. There we are. Now, let's see if our flowers are dry. And we could cut them out. So, yep, they're alright. So you're best just cutting one completely away from the other so that you get a good go at it. And just get as near as you can to your flower. And cut right round about it. You don't really want to see much white carved, although it doesn't matter if there is a couple of little bits, but it'll just act like highlights. Take that off of you. Always take the big bits away, it makes it easier to cut the rest. There's a wee jaggy bit there. And then just cut right round about there like that. So there's one. And we'll just cut the other now as well. So we'll cut the big bits of the cards away first. It makes it a bit easier to get in and out the bits that you want. You can get mums and dads to help you cut them out if it's. Some people are good at cutting and some people don't like doing it, so you can get your parents to help you. Okay, so that should do that. So let's see where we could place these before we add anything onto the back of them. So we could do one there, overlapping that one, and we could do one on its side maybe, like that. So there you are. So what we're going to do, just to make them look a wee bit more 3D, my tape's all tight now because we drew around it. I'll get rid of that bit. So just take a little bit of your tape, and if you roll it back to back, like that, just put that on the back of your flower like that, and then place it back on there like that. That should sit up nice off there. Rather than gluing it, you could glue it, but the glue wouldn't make it so 3D. That gives it a wee shadow around there if you just raise it. So just get a little bit of tape, roll it back to back, like that. And then put it on the back of your flower, like that. And then just sit it on like that. So, go back now and clean your little brush, and you can see if you want to add some more flowers or some more little bits of buds and things like that. So let's go with a few more little buds up there like that. That's all it is, just a wee flick of the brush. It does that. Just one or two there. Sometimes you need to go over them a wee bit again because if there was a lot of water on your brush the first time, you kind of dry in a bit. So let's do that there. And you could get that purple and just put a bit on your palette and just dip your brush into some purpley bits as well and get a few little purpley ones. If you're going to use the purple, use a wee bit of white with it just so that it shows it up just that little bit better. Now we're going to fill some of this in. So we're going to take our green, the yellow and the green, and we're going to put loads of big leaves around here, but we want this to be nice and strong, so we could use a stronger green now. That's on your palette. That's the deep green. That's phthalo green. And just to get some shadow on some of the greens as well, you can put some dark under like that. And if you do that, you can put a wee bit of the shadow, a bit more, building that shadow up on the vase, because we really want this to be dark at this side. And the darker this is, the brighter it makes the highlight light come up as well. So I'm just going to clean my brush now and freshen that up and put a little bit of shadow at the bottom now of that. So I want this to be really, really dark. You can even put some of the dark green with all your dark colours there and just go right under there. And there you are. That's your little picture. Okay, so you can add as many wee flowers as you like. You can put a wee stronger one in there as well. And you can just keep doing that, whatever you like. Okay, so that's your little picture. Hope you enjoy that. Alright, so this is one of the pieces we're going to be doing here. So a lot of tape involved in this to get the stripes, and if you've got like a wee box or something just to block these out, just to draw around, these were a bit different. I did these ones at home, but these are a bit different. But they might be quite nice as well because they're narrow. You could do two that way and one that way if you want, or vice versa. You can even do them as circles, just go around them like circles. So basically what we're going to be doing is working with three colours, and the whole theme is done in three colours. So what we're going to do is get our masking tape on the background first, and we can choose some of these colours to make a wee frame around it as well. It's all done with the tape, so I'll show you how to do that. We'll mainly be using the big brush, big flat brush, but you should have your 4 brushes like this. Big flat one, pointy one, small flat one, and a medium size pointy one. Okay, but I think mainly I just used the big one. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing, something similar to that. And Some of you might remember me doing something like this before. But we'll get the tape out, and you need a hairdryer as well and scissors to cut your tape, although I don't bother with scissors to cut the tape. And use a bit of sets of paint, so you should have a nice deep red or pink. The first one I used pink in, but I don't think you've got pink in your sets, so we'll use this nice deep pink red, but you can mix it with white if you want it more pink. And your phthalo green and your cerulean blue. Now, don't think you've got cerulean blue in your set, but if you mix these two with a little bit of white, that's your cerulean blue, it gives you cerulean blue. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just lift quite a lot of my white off of here now. And that's basically what we're going to be doing. Should probably have topped up that white a bit more. But that's basically what we're working with there. So your white is your mixer, your three colours. Okay, so I'm going to just move this out the road for now, and I'm going to start working with the tape. So I'm just going to go from this side to this side with the tape first. Just centre it as much as you can. The best that you can do. It doesn't have to be perfect. And make sure that you flatten it down after you do it, because we don't want any bits sticking up. So if you wanted some wee tiny stripes in between, you would need to go in between one or two of them, like that. And it's up to yourself if you want to space them out a bit wider at the bottom, like something like that. Just make it a wee bit narrower at the top. And then as you come down, just come out down a little bit wider at the bottom. Now you can do that all through your board, but I might just do a few for now. Just totally experiment with this. I'm doing this one a wee bit different to the one that I did earlier. Just not too far away from it, just make these a wee bit wider, because I'll be taking this tape off after the paint's in, and I might be putting colours in these areas as well. So we'll work with that now. So again, we'll just kind of make these a wee bit bigger now. So we're spacing out a wee bit wider now at the bottom. I just tear it with my hands, it's quite easy to tear. Just watch if it rumples up like that. If you do become short of a wee bit, it's absolutely fine just to take another wee bit and just overlap the very same bit and make it a wee bit longer in the same there. Sometimes it crumples up on you. That's alright. So just make sure everything's nice and flat, there's no gap in them. And you don't even have to take it right to the end if you don't want to. I'm going to go a bit wider with these now. So you can do it in any style that you want. Right, so to make sure that it's nice and secure, I'm just going to fold it over, not too tightly, but just fold it over a little bit over the sides. And just make sure that's all done. Okay, so I'm just going to get a colour. I'll take this hair drying out a little bit. I'm just going to get a colour now to start with. And my water here. So I might just take, as I say, I might just do a few blues. I'm not doing them in any particular order. I'm just kind of randomly throwing some of these out to see how this goes. Now, another thing you could do as well, you could maybe do some blue at the top, like that. And then you could go into some of the red. So I think kind of run into the blue a little bit. Then you can take the green, and you can take the green just between the blue and the red, and so it runs into each other. So that's almost like giving you another colour now. And then to show off the green, just bring a bit more of the green in the bottom. I can hardly see where my tape is now, so I'll be taking some of this off. Got to make sure it's well dry with the hairdryer though. So you're getting a few different colours going on there. Just watch you don't mix too many colours in with your red, because red should be left nice and bright. So maybe do a red one here. And maybe another red one in here. Kind of pinkish line on. So we'll just get some more red, and the red that I'm using is the deep red, that's that. We want the brilliant red, this one's called outer set. You've got two reds, one more orangey and one with deeper red, so you want the deep one. We'll just make that one a bit deeper as well. And I don't know if I've got any other wee bits there to do. So I want to show off a bit more of that nice jade green now, so let's bring that in here. This one's totally experimental, so I don't know how this one's going to look. I'll just try this. So we're just using the three colours all the time, and then the wee blocks in the middle will be mixed with these colours as well, so it's like wee abstracts of this, wee pictures in an abstract style. Take it right up to the tape. Now at the moment, got a lot of paint going over my tape, so you can hardly see what's what. So we're going to be drying that pretty soon. So now I'm going to take a bit more. I haven't put tape on this, I'm actually just blending these. So that's quite nice, blended like that too. And I can do the same way, but I've got tape on this one, but I can still put blue beside it. And I can even take a blend of the green in there. It's quite turquoise one. And then that one could get finished off with red. Oh, got a bit of purple or something going on. That means there's probably a bit of blue still in my brush. So you go through a lot of this tissue, cleaning up all the time. So just get a nice bright red there. And go through a bit of paint in this. So I'll let that dry and I might go back in there with another little bit of red in there as well because it's went a bit dull there. So in fact, I might just put it straight on. A little bit there and a little bit there. And I might try and clean my brush a little bit more. And clean it in some of my clean water. That's better. Yeah, definitely better. Your second layer of acrylic always comes up better than the first. I feel that I need to strengthen some of those greens a wee bit more as well. They kind of get lost into other colours. They don't all have to be the same shade. That goes right into the green, the red, but that's fine. Okay, I'm going to just brighten up a little bit more red at the top of that one there. And make sure I've got the nice brilliant red back in there. And just a little bit there. That should do that. So what I might do is just change to another brush there just in case I get in the colour mixing again. That's better. That's better. Right, so I'm going to dry these with a hairdryer now. Right, okay, back again, just see how this has turned out. Now you're better doing this on a board rather than paper because sometimes it sticks to the paper. I did it on paper last night and it stuck quite a wee bit to the paper. So I'm just going to take this off and then see where I'm going to go from there. Some of it's went under the tape a little bit there, but that's okay because we're putting some more paint up that end of the board. So you've got to really make sure it's well down, and you can see I did that there. But sometimes even that's not enough. That's okay. So these are thinner lines, and then I would go back with some tape and put some more lines in between these. See if I run it. Okay, so that's not bad. This one's went in a wee bit, but that's okay. That's alright. So what I'll do then, now that that's dry, I would probably go in with some more tape and narrow these white lines down quite a wee bit. But I don't want to do them all, quite like some of them being there. So what I might do, I might take this one here and tidy it with blue. So if I do that, to make that blue a bit thicker. So if I go in there, oh, didn't bring that right to the bottom there. That's okay. I can just go over that. So I can go into that blue and make that blue a good bit thicker. So that it'll just end up with that wee bit that's white next to the red. So that's, and I can even get into that. So I'm just using my smaller brush now just to do these little bits. So it'll go in there, a bit thicker blue. And this time I'm tidying up those little bits with a wee bit kind of scabby there. So let's get that out over there. You've got to remember to dry it with a hairdryer in between though. So because I'm just touching this bit up, I might just need to dry it a tiny wee bit. Let's try this. Let's see how this is came out. This is just a one that I did here. I've just noticed here I haven't been right in here with this blue. But this should still be alright to lift. So yeah, that's a bit better. And the same there, I can do that there as well. So what I'm going to do, we'll do that to a couple of them, and then we can narrow this down, maybe make that red one a bit thicker there. So if I put more red in there, and then I can maybe put a bit more blue, wee blue stripe in there. So as you can see, they're not in any great order, it's just to get them. So I'm going to go in with the red first, but I need more of that red. Just going to do straight under the red, right on there. So you can see I'm using a smaller brush now just to get into these areas here. That red seems a bit brighter, but it's the same red. So you might have been mixed with something else, but that's fine. That should actually work out well because I'm putting red either side of that stripy line. But with acrylic, the more layers that you put on, the more coverage you get. So I'll do that with a few of them, tidy them up, and what I'm going to try and do is put some tape in between them to close them in a wee bit with other colours in between, because I don't want as much white showing. So this is the way I would go about it. So I'll dry this one. That's not too bad. Right, so what I'll do is I'll go off and I'll do some more of these. I'm not too bothered about this here because I'm going to be putting some loose colours up there as well. But I just want to cut down some of my whites, they're just a wee bit too much white. So you're just putting a bit of tape like this in between. Like if that's too much white there, I don't mind that wee bit of white, But if this one's too much here, what I would do there is I would just make this one thicker or put a different colour just in that space there. So that means if I want to do that, I have to swap this colour a bit, like that, and put another colour in there. So I've got green, so it'll probably be blue in there, and so on. Oh, we're getting lilac now. That's my water getting mixed with the reds and the blues. A bit of fresh water now. And that's okay, that wee bit can come off. If anything like that happens and you can't get it off, just put a bit of white on it and then start again. That's fine. So I'm going to go for a bit of blue on this one. And I could probably just get away with putting them on quite fine like that now, because they're next to other colours. But you can do what you like. This is just an experimental thing, an idea, just a bit of fun. Let's see how this one's going. So that's better, that's less white now, which is better. Okay, so I'll go off and do a few of these and come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've done a wee bit to it since I've seen you last. So I've tidied up some of my lines a little bit, and what I'm going to do now is I've decided to go a wee bit bigger with my square. I was going to use just a smaller box, but I've decided to use something this kind of size and maybe just do 2 of them. So after I did that, I just took the Sharpie pen and I drew around it. I'm going to do another one just to show you. And then after I took that away, I put the masking tape right round there, because I don't want any of the paint going on to the outside. I just want that to be like a perfect wee square if possible. And I want to place this one round about here, because I want to leave enough room to draw like a wee frame line round there, and then maybe do a wee bit sort of pouring paint round there as well. So we'll go for that. I think that should do. I'm just using a Sharpie pen to draw around this. But you can use anything you like. You can use any size of block or circle or shape, or anything that you want here. All I'm using this for is to do a wee sort of solid picture, abstract picture of these colours. So that should all work in. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of tape around that. That tape will do that side here, but I'll put another wee bit up there. And another bit there. And I've just discovered how this might be happening here, that the paint's been seeping through. The first one I did was on paper, so paper's flatter, so it didn't go through the paper. The only thing is it's hard to take the tape off the paper sometimes. But because your canvas board has got wee sort of bubbles on it, that's allowed wee escape bits to go through there. So that's okay, you can tidy them. I'm going to put some paint up there anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. So these are quite quick to do. Yeah, they should be alright. You just make sure. I hope none of the paint goes through these ones right enough. But we'll just need to tidy them up if that happens. But just make sure they're well pressed down. But it's just, I think it's the wee grains on the board that's doing that. Okay, So you can use a brush, or you can use a palette knife, or you can even use a wee plastic card to do this, or sometimes you can even use like wee plastic knives that you get as well. These are palette knives, but you can use like a wee disposable plastic knife or something like that as well. I've got this here, so I'm just going to experiment with a little bit of this. So I'll stick a wee bit of white somewhere first, something like that. And this might be quite good doing it with a palette knife, it might save it from going under. And this is a bit of the red. It's quite nice of the red. This is crimson, I don't know if it's the same red I was using, it might not be, but it's been here as. So this is crimson. And then I want to just clean that now again to pick a different colour. I might take a bit of my green there. The green is quite nice because once it hits other colours, you get nice tones in it. And then I'll take a bit of blue. Maybe do a bigger bit of blue. You don't need to do them all equal sizing or anything like that. This should create quite a nice kind of aqua tone between the blue. So that's the same colours that I'm using. And then maybe just a bit more green. More red. Do a bit more red down there. And a bit more blue. Into purple. So again, it's just all the same colours. But you'll create different colours when they blend in with one another. Make sure all your tape has been covered with nice colours, that you've got no gaps through it. There's a good gap there. There might be a gap there. So that should look alright. So that's one done. Pull a wee bit in that. There you go. It's overlap. So that's one done like that. Now that's one with the knife. I'm going to do one with the brush this time. And I'll try and stick to the brushes that you've got. So this is quite a nice wee brush here. So again, I'm just going to stick with some white first. Maybe, I'm not even thinking this through, I'm just experimenting with it, see what happens here. And since I've got a loaded brush there, I'm just going to use my fingers for this little bit. That's given me a nice wee sort of powdery violet there, which is quite nice. And then a little bit of this running here will give me a nice soft pink. So quite nice to sort of spread that about a bit more. And then go into a little bit of sort of finger painting there, and into a little bit of green. And then maybe just take it through that way. And then a little bit of blue going that way. It just lets you see how all the colours can blend in together. Nice bright red there. Now, try and get some of this off my hands first before I go any further. Just trying to go in a slightly different direction than the other one. Now, sometimes if you mix the red and the green, because it's quite a pinky red, you get almost like a kind of grey lilac. So let's just put that in there. They're all the same mixture of colours that you've got. and then just go back with like a strong bit of green. Sometimes it's nice just to get that dark bit in, just between some lights. Still using the same colours. I'll dash a bit of that through there. Nice and dark in that. So when you put dark colours next to pastel tones, it really emphasises them, brings them up a bit. So that sort of thing there. A little bit up there. So you can do all sorts of things like this. That'll be nice for that one there. It's nice mixing them, and it's nice just to put some darker tones, and it frames the light. Okay, so let's see what this looks like when you take the tape off. What I found was earlier, when I was taking the tape off some of the lines that I was fixing, it turned out to be that because of the board, I didn't need to use a hairdryer that much. So I could just take it off without drying it, because the board is much easier to do this with. Your hands just end up being covered. This one here. So there's one. There you go. Oh, we can tidy that up a bit, that's alright. So there you are, they stand out quite nice against the stripes. Now, just to tidy this up a wee bit, there's a couple of things I can do. I'm just going to clean my hands a bit though, because we've covered paint. So I can get some of this off because I don't want it to get anything there. And that's just a bit of fun working with the same colours, only you're making a wee abstract out of it as well. And you can go back and touch some of them up, like you can see, I can see already just by looking at that there, that I quite like that wee dark bit, which I didn't add much into this one, so you can go back and add some of them in, just like that, because that's really good for quite a lot of your colours. Especially next to the red, it makes the red look nice and velvety looking. Pretty wet here though. I'll go back when that's a bit dry. Right, so I'm going to take my big brush now, big flat brush, and I'm going to get a bit of clean water. I'm going to take some pale blue first and splatter a bit of that round about there first. Then I'm going to take a little bit of green at the top. Probably could have done a bit more blue first there. I'm going to get the paint a little bit thicker. I'm going to leave a little bit of that red because I quite like that bright red there. So what I'm going to do now is just lift my board a little bit and just let some of this run. I don't want it running over my picture, but it won't be a bad thing if it does, because it's the same colours. So we'll just set a few puddles on there and just let's see what happens. Running through it, but that's fine. We'll just see. It's just quite interesting to see what happens. We could have ran them the same way as the stripes, but it's just a wee bit different, letting them go that way. So that's quite nice as well. So you can do that kind of thing, or you could put a wee frame around it with the paint, or you can just leave it like that. I actually quite like it just like that. So that it's just to one side, and then when you're happy with it, just leave it like that. Now what I'll need to do is dry this a little bit, and then I can go over it with scrolling it with some white if you like. So I'll let that dry for a minute or two and I'll go back with you. So there you are, boys and girls, that's it finished. You can have a wee shot at that. Now, we've picked these three colours, but you can pick any of your three favourite colours or anything that you want, and you can do it your own way. You don't have to make them squares, you can make them circular or whatever you like. You can overlap, you can have three small ones like my first one had, or you can have these, whatever you like. And I just thought it was better without the frame, because I'd made these bigger. The last one had three small ones and I made a frame around it, but because these are taking up more of the page now, so quite happy with that. So I hope you enjoy it.